by Eliza Fenwick, Volume 1, Letter 11, from Clement Montgomery to Arthur Murden. Dear Arthur, precisely such a command to return home, so sudden and so unexpected, as you received 5 months past from Sir Thomas Barlow, have I received from Mr. Valmont. But the speed of your obedience bore no proportion to mine, for hither I have come with a rapidity which scarcely yielded to rest and refreshment. Here I am already arrived, almost within sight of the castle's prison-like towers, and here have I been traversing the paltry room of an inn for 1 hour and 3/4. How much longer I shall stay here I know not. But by heaven, were I to depart with a thorough good will, it would be to take the road back to the continent. Arthur, Arthur, what a lesson it is that I have to get by road. Fully assured, Clement, says Mr. Valmont in his letter, that you cannot have departed from the rule of conduct I desire you to pursue, I do not doubt but that you will joyfully quit the haunts of treacherous, sordid men, to enjoy with me the pleasant solitude of Valmont Castle, etc., etc. No one knows better than yourself, dear Murden, how closely I have pursued Mr. Valmont's rule of conduct, and I think you can guess also how greatly I shall now enjoy the pleasant solitude of Valmont Castle. For a week, a month, perchance, the blooming Sibella will render the wilderness a world. Could I flatter myself that Mr. Valmont recalls me to give her to my arms, how I would bound over the distance which now separates us? No, Arthur, no such blessing awaits your luckless friend. I am to look on her as a sister, says Mr. Valmont. Good heaven! And he recalls me to stand perpetually on the brink of a precipice. For how can I hear her, look on her, touch her, and be a brother? Nay, the very first moment of my entrance into that castle may undo me, for she will rush to my embrace, she will cover me with kisses, and his chilling eye will be on me. Had Mr. Valmont left me with the cottagers, my parents, I had never seen Sibella. Then I had dreamed through a stupid existence, without knowing life and love. Had he kept me the recluse of his woods, she had by this time infused her wild untamed spirit unto me, and I should have torn her from him, imagining we could live on berries and drink water. No more of that, Arthur, no, no. I now see the full value of my obedience to Mr. Valmont's commands, for I would, by heaven, rather this moment endure the rack than be blasted to a life of hateful indigence, abhorred poverty. I must obey, Murden. Must, while my heart, my desires, my wishes are still the same, must cloak them to please Mr. Valmont's eye. To fit his fashion I must be a brother to my charming Sibella, must abjure a world I adore, rail at men, curse women. I invite you to the castle, Arthur. Come and visit me in my disguise. Come, and by reminding me of times past, keep alive my hopes and expectations of times that may come. Here, while I stay in this inn, I prepare for the first essay of my practice in the cynical science. I have been recollecting as well as I could the scraps and remnants of Mr. Valmont's harangue of man and womankind, and I think I have made of my memory a sort of commonplace book of this delectable jargon from which I can pick and cull for all Mr. Valmont's occasions. Half an hour or so I stood before the looking-glass to find what face was fittest to carry to the castle. The glances I have of late been used to may do for the wood when Mr. Valmont is out of sight, but they will not suit the library. They speak a promptitude for pleasure. I must hide them under my cloak, and borrow something, if I can, of Mr. Valmont's sallow hues. Yet these prudent necessary considerations found not an entrance into my mind till I came within 6 miles of Valmont Castle. I was engrossed by a circumstance that hastened me to fly from the scene where I had known so much of joy and pleasure. Abandoned, artful, cursed deceiver, I speak, Arthur, of Janetta, who has plundered, duped, and jilted me. How well she feigned her passion! How artfully she drew me on continually to sacrifice to her avarice and vanity, till I was almost beggared! And with what management did she evade my first suspicions, and elude my enquiries, till at length an accident gave me proof too strong to be doubted or evaded that she was falser than falsehood, that she was at once mine and the mistress of her friend's husband. I would not trust myself to hear her plead in her defence. I would not stand the fascinations of her divine face, but having received Mr. Valmont's letter an hour before, I ordered my clothes to be packed up, and without taking leave of one single acquaintance, I set off post for England. Ha! Was ever anything more unfortunate than this? Ross, Mr. Valmont's steward, and one of the grooms from the castle have come into this inn, and know I am here. The groom I could manage, but Ross is not to be tampered with, and as sure as I live he will inform Mr. Valmont of my passing half a day so near the castle. Had I possessed an atom of common understanding, I might have foreseen such an accident, and now, for want of this small share of foresight, I am panic-struck. Ross was going not to the castle, therefore I will take 1/4 of an hour to chill my looks into brotherhood, and then brave the worst. Clement Montgomery. End of section 11.